Hello crafty friends, it's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty YouTube channel, and in today's video I am back with another alternative using the July 2019 paper pumpkin kit on my mind. I hope you'll stick around and see what I'm going to make. Thanks so much for stopping by today. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope by the end of this video that you'll be inspired to click on the subscribe button below and maybe even tap on that bell for notifications. To all my current subscribers and regular viewers, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Like I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be creating another alternative card with the July 2019 paper pumpkin kit. I have already made and shared 6 cards here on my channel this month. If you want to see those, I will link the playlist in the description box below, and at the end of this video, I will have it as one of the thumbnail images if you want to go check all of those out. I'll go ahead now and give you a look at each of the cards that I created already, and then we'll get started on today's card. For today's card, I am going to be using the inside of the map envelope as the pattern paper on the front of my card. I will be using some supplies that do not come with your kit, but I think even if you don't have these, you could make do with what supplies or what tools you do have at home, and I'll kind of talk about that later. But before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about all the supplies that I'll be using. From the kit, I'm going to be using the Pretty Peacock Stampin' Spot that they gave us. I got out the little shell to stamp and the happy birthday. The pieces that I'll be using besides the envelope are the 2 clouds, the sailboat, the rectangle sentiment tag, and then the little blue rectangle that has like the textured look to it. The non-item kit pieces I'll be using, first of all, I got out some stitched circle dies. These are from Me Crafty. I will link those below if you want to check them out. But even if you do not have this die, if you kept this scrap from your kit, you could just trace this and then cut it out by hand, and that would work as well. I also made a white card base before I got started here. I'm sure we all have white cardstock. And then I will be using some vellum for today's card. And this is what I'm going to cut the circle out of. If you don't have vellum, you could just skip this step. You could just use a white cardstock circle, or if you wanted to use the green one that came with the kit, that would work too. So in the past, when I have tried to use the inside of the envelopes as pattern paper, I try to take them apart and be careful, but it never works out. I usually end up tearing some of the pattern part. So what I'm going to do is just use my paper trimmer to just slice down the sides where the envelope is connected or folded together. Just going to take off the least amount that I can. And now I can open it up and I will trim along the border here. I will need to leave a small border around the outside of this because it's not quite 5.5 inches long. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut this to 4 inches wide. And then I will cut off this side and just make sure it's 5.25 inches the other way. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my card base and put my pattern paper on the front of that. And now I'm going to die cut my vellum circle. I wanted to use vellum so you could still see kind of the pattern paper behind it, but it's gonna help the boat stand out from that background a little bit. Before I start putting the card together though, I do want to go ahead and do all of my stamping. So I did get out my Sizzix stamping pad, and what this does, it helps get a good impression with the stamps since they don't have the foam backer on them. If you're interested in looking at this, and I think they also sell a smaller one, I will link that in the description box below. I'm going to start by stamping the seashells on this scrap piece of white cardstock. I thought I might stamp maybe 1 or 2 to put on the card, like fussy cut them out as just extra embellishment. And now I will put my sentiment onto the provided label tag that they give me. One thing I wish Stampin' Up! Did was maybe say, oh hey, for $10 extra, we'll give you some coordinating dies. I would gladly pay that. So if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you could put in a word, I would appreciate it. But for now, I will just fussy cut these 3 out. I'm not sure how many I'll end up using on the final piece, but I thought it was better to stamp a couple more, or maybe 1 more than I needed now, so I don't have to get everything back out. Let's go ahead and get this card put together. I did go ahead and pull in the twine and the adhesive sequins from the kit. Now I'm just going to figure out how I want everything laid out. I think I'm happy with this layout, so I'm going to go ahead and get everything adhered down. I am going to use some of the dimensionals that came with the kit. I think I will pop up the sailboat, the shell, and the happy birthday. And while I have the placement of these 3 pieces how I like it, I am going to use a little piece of Scotch removable tape to hold those together. Oops, maybe I won't. That slipped out. I'm going to hold those together with that. Because most of the vellum is covered up by the sailboat, I am just going to tack this down in the center with a little X of adhesive. And then I'll put some too right where that blue kind of watery effect piece will go. When I'm putting down the dimensionals, I am trying to put some of them where 2 pieces overlap to help hold those together. To help keep the happy birthday tag on there and the shell, I brought in the glue dots that they give you with the kit, and I'm just going to put one under each of these just to make sure they stay in place there. I'm going to put some of these sequins up in this area, and then I almost think I need something down here, so I might go with some twine. I am going to wrap the twine around the front and then try to knot it down here to the left bottom of the boat. And what I'm going to do is put a glue dot down there, and I'm hoping that that will help me kind of tie it and keep this end in place. I hope you enjoyed that look at how I created this card using the July 2019 paper pumpkin kit. If you did, as always, I appreciate a thumbs up. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope that you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above, and if you're interested in any of the products or tools that I use in the video, I do have some links in the description box.